Hi, everybody. Guess what? It's our first big kind of show that we got to get ready for, and we're bringing it to you live. Yes, we are on our way to ISE. Well, technically, we're not on our way to ISE just yet. We will be starting this weekend, but I am happy to be back and happy to be able to show some really cool stuff today. Jenny, tell them what we have in store. Wow, that's my first, I feel like a commercial guy.
Well, here's my first prediction. There is absolutely no way at all that we will finish this live within the hour. So, if you can stay with us for the whole thing, that's great. And thanks so much. And if you can't, don't worry, you can come back to it later and watch on demand. We are streaming around the world via Midwich's YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Do ask questions, comment throughout via the chat function on whichever platform you're using if you are watching us live. And if you can't watch today's show in full, which I completely understand because we're going to run over, don't worry, you can watch it back via our YouTube channel. Search Midwich or Midwich Live. Don't forget to subscribe. We're approaching 600 now, which would be great to put that on. If you don't like our faces, you can grab the podcast format instead. Which sounds so we may have gone a little bit overboard, and we've tried to pack possibly too much tea to spill into this Midwich Live, which is focused on all the juicy gossip that we could get out of numerous different vendors about what they're going to be showing at ISE. So we're going to let you know a couple of things and shout out a few partners that we don't work with that we just think look really cool at the show. And then we are going to flip over to some pre-recorded interviews that we've been gathering over the last week or so with Samsung, then Microsoft, and then Absen to talk about what we can expect. And some of them are doing things very differently to how they have been doing in previous years.
Yeah, it's hard to sit on some of this cool information that we got this week, but these folks are all leaving and they're all on their way to the show, so we could not have them live today, and it's a little bit much to ask. So as people that are building stands, so you're going to want to stick around and listen to what they're bringing to the show this year.
And Chris, you've got some news. You are officially UC famous.
UC famous. Yes. I have to explain to people what that is. I've gotten more emails from my family asking me what is UC. First, they thought it was a condition. I said, no, it's not. It's not a condition. There's no pills for it. It stands for Unified Communications. And yes, I did get placed 26th out of 100 in this UC Expo USA list of top not AV, but UC influence and honor. Considering that I started my career in that space, installing polycoms and ripping out picture tells and playing with the Sony video conferencing system back in the ISDN days. If anybody remembers those days, please, I would like to see a thumbs up, or you know what, don't, because we're probably a little older.
They're switching that off soon.
If we're playing with iMuxes. And what's that?
Yeah, they're switching off the ISDN line soon. So you're
thank God. Here it was always an issue. So that's where I started my career, and it's kind of wild that here 25 years later I've come full circle. I'm back in that. I spent the good part of last year learning, getting to understand more. I got my certification as a Microsoft person. I got really down and dirty and into the whole Zoom ecosystem as well. It's pretty wild what happens, and I'm honored that they selected me, and hopefully I will expo this year, which is in Austin in September. So there's a kind of a lot of cool things that are happening. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. And we'll you know what? We will toast at ISDN and Barcelona. No, not ISDN. At ISE. God, I've had such a bad day today. I'm lack of coffee. That must be it.
It's morning where you are, so I suppose that's okay.
And thank you, Carol. Thank you so much for the thumbs up.
So in other good news, we have we've been nominated for, I think, Company of the Year is the category in the Innovation Awards, which I'm sure that many of you will be attending as that takes place during ISE, which is pretty cool. And I suppose we should probably shout out now, although there's not much time still to go, that if you haven't heard already, we have our podcast studio that we're building as part of our stand. And there are, I think, 3 slots left when I last looked that were potentially available to book. Yeah. That might have changed already. But Chris, do you want to tease a couple of the names?
Absolutely. If you come by the booth, you'll see some really interesting folks coming in to do some recordings. You have Joe Way and his higher ed team and the Hetma Group coming in on Wednesday to come record some slots. David Danto with the IMCCA group will be recording some slots. I have Commercial Integrator coming in to do some recordings as well. Dan Farisi and Nancy Blanchard will be jumping in there. There will be an interview done with Wayne House Research at our booth, so come by, check that out. That's on Thursday. We have Justin Dawson coming all the way from Ireland to record All Things Techie and his All Things Techie podcast. I think I may be a guest on there, or Jenny's going to be a guest on it. And obviously, we have all these really cool things. We even have our own company using it. So DVS is coming over, and DVS will be recording some material, some content at the recording studio. Now, this recording studio is built and designed for recording only. It's not a live stream. I wish we really trusted Trade Show Internet to let that out, but we're just doing the recording, and then later that evening, you'll be able to see some of this stuff. And we're actually taking advantage of the setup, myself and Jenny, and we're bringing in some heavy hitters to come in and give us an ISE kind of conversation, a post-ISE conversation that we're going to be recording and bringing back for the next Midwich Live, where we kind of wrap up the ISE stuff that we found and people that we saw there. And they're people of distinction. And somebody's actually going to give us an Infocom preview because Infocom is in June. It's coming up quick. So we're going to have a fun time. Come by, see us at the AV on Air booth. It's part of the Midwich stand, which is at 3P400. If you haven't even made plans yet to do it, please put that on your schedule and agenda. Come see me. I'm going to be on my mind there because it's a busy show. I love being in show environment.
I think you can put it in the ISE app, right? And then add it as like a tick off of stands that you have to visit, which is what I will be spending this entire weekend doing, so that I can make sure that I've gone through my entire tick list, because my diary has just erupted over the last few days with bookings. But I mean, they say, like, in London, we have these celebrity hotspots, right? Of places like bars and restaurants that if you go to, you're bound to bump into somebody famous. Well, if you're looking for the AV famous, I'd be fairly confident that many times wandering past our stand, you might get a little glimpse of a few of them there, which is pretty cool. And I actually think producer Kerry might have a picture of the stand that she can share with everyone, so you can see sort of what it's going to look like. Again, Midwich booth, as always, really focused on hospitality. We're not there to promote product. That's what our partners do. We're there to meet with people. And if you're looking to catch up with your Midwich contact from whichever Midwich Group company you work with, particularly if you are looking to take your business international and you want to understand more about us in that sense, come and find us on the stand and we'll be able to introduce you to the right people. So we are under strict instructions today not to waffle because of the number of interviews that we need to play on this live. But we did promise that we would talk a little bit about stuff that's a bit different, maybe that you should go see at the show. Now, I haven't done all of my homework properly, so I don't have booth numbers, but I am going to shout out a few things. 2-3 of them are not Midwich partners, and I hope that comes across in our content, that we're not always just talking about stuff that we sell. This is definitely stuff that we don't distribute or sell at the moment, but a couple of pointers for different vertical markets. Higher ed folks, please go and check out X2O Media. They're part of the Strata Cash group, and their one room solution will be on show on their stand. This is super cool for your hybrid training, teaching spaces. And if you don't already know who they are and what they do and how they bring it together, it's great. It's exactly what collaborative learning should be. So do go and have a look at that. Resi folks, there will be a manufacturer at the show called Seed, like I don't know why I'm going to say curly cur. You can tell I have a young son. Seed will be there. They have a foldable micro LED product that brings itself back into like a metal structure that sort of looks a bit like art, which is really cool. So these are some of the places that I'm off to check out. And then for the corporate folks, this one is a shout out to two of our vendors. 21:9 displays, LCD displays will be on show both on the IYAMA stand at 105-inch and then same size again on the Samsung booth, which they tell us about in the interviews that we've got coming up shortly. My final plug is to go and find Save AV and understand what those guys are up to if you're interested in learning more about sustainable future within our industry. Also spend some time at the Avixa booth where the Sustainability Task Force, of which I am a member, will be floating around. So if you want to understand or actually not understand what we're doing, but come and tell us what you want for the industry in line with ESG and sustainability, please do come and find out more and check out Save AV because they are ready and raring to go in terms of helping people. Now, Chris, you are on the hunt for a product.
Absolutely. Well, I have a couple things. So let me just rewind before I go on what I'm hunting for. First thing I'm going to go check out, or that I want to see. Obviously, there's a product that I carry, that we carry, which is the D10 dual setup, where now the D10 dual D7X, where they took a camera and a speaker bar, and then instead of laying it at the bottom, they kind of fixed it so that it goes in the middle of two screens. Yes. That to me is something of interest, because that is a debate that I've had online, whether the camera placement's on top or on bottom. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's an engineer. Everybody wants to tell me where it goes. Some people want to tell me where it goes, and it's not very nice of them. I can accept that. You just put the camera in the middle, and I want to see that. So I'm going to D7 and go check that out. The other thing I want to go see is it's not a product that we sell, but I'd like to see what Leon's doing with the Cove. It's something that I have actually testing out behind me. I'm putting my D10Me Pro into it to take a look at how it does with the sound. So for me, it's more about how it's going to contain and how contain the noise level in an open office space. Operators are kind of asking this sort of stuff, and it's furniture, so it's not something that Stern really gets involved in. But we do sell the D10Me Pro, which is the all-in-one on the desktop. So for us to have desk set up with some better lighting and the audio being buffered is kind of cool. But the hunt, that's my thing. I get sent cameras. People love to send me cameras. I have USB cameras all over the place. I have some HDMI. But one of the things that I have been working and trying to get better and slick, and in my studio, my former studio, my problem is I want to put all these cameras out and I want to be able to kind of mix them around, right? I want to see who's got the best USB kind of switch that I don't care if it's manual. It doesn't have, I don't need AI. I don't need a chatbot in it. I just want something that kind of just, I can have 4 cameras, can go from one to the other to show you my overhead shot, to do an unboxing, to show the camera. It's not for everybody, but we do carry a product that kind of does that already with the Inageni. And I want to go see that. And I want to go see if there's any other type of broadcast production type of stuff that's working on that sort of USB switch.
And you could put a Stream Deck in front of something, right? But I think I can completely understand how there's a lot of people out there who may be unlike us, who spend a lot of our spare time programming Stream Decks for fun. One of our guests that's coming up, who's got a soundboard with numerous different cool sound effects as well. I completely see how that's a absolute makes sense to have product right now, multi-switcher. But USB
it's
with
the evolution of the work from home office.
Yeah, push button control is what you want. And then you can just label them and switch. Yeah, that would be really useful. So if you already know one exists, chuck it in the comments and save our tired feet. And if not, join us on our hunt for Chris's simple, easy push button switch, USB switch. Couple of comments to shout out before we get going with our pre-recorded interviews. Lewis Clifford, you are welcome. I'm excited to see. I think 21:9 is going to be quite a big hype topic for the show this year. We certainly have that impression from Microsoft as well. And James, if you can't make ISE, please do look out for our post ISE show, because obviously at the moment we're sort of predicting and like shouting out what to go look for based on the research that we can do. But we will be grabbing content from the show floor with some pretty cool people as well, who can give us all of the stats, numbers, best things they've seen in different vertical markets. So we're going to grab that content from the show and then bring that back to a live stream when we are back.
I noticed you're excluding former producer Ben, who's went on to direct Academy Award winning films now and has left our podcast. But yes, Ben, we see you. Thank you for looking at the stand and say it looks amazing. Appreciate that. Look at him making a guest appearance from the nether, right? Thank you so much, Ben. Appreciate it. Yeah, just make sure that we're still here. We're still here, Ben. It's okay.
He'll start sending us messages when we get over our hour soon. Like, wrap it up, guys. Wrap it up. You're over the hour.
So we're not gonna waffle around. We're gonna get to some of these interviews. I'm excited, as you can see. We're all excited to get to ISE. I know you guys are all pretty hyped up to get to the show and see. And for the ones that are not going, we're gonna do our best. Check out not just what Midwich is putting out, but look at our own social feeds, because we're going to be putting out stuff that we see as we move. I, for one, I'm not going directly to ISE, nor am I directly coming home. So I'm going to be posting some more remote type stuff of how I operate as a remote worker. This time working from different parts of Europe. So please stick to our social channels, all of them, and you'll see some really cool stuff.
So I think we are going to jump to our first interview, pre-recorded interview. This one was with Samsung, and actually it was great to hear what's going to be on their stand and some of the themes and messaging, which I was really excited about. But the most interesting thing is that you will not be able to just walk up and get onto the Samsung booth this year as you have in previous years. So let's find out how their booth is going to work and cut to that interview. So much for joining us, Steve and Gerry. First of all, let's find out what you do at Samsung. Can we get some quick introductions from the two of you? Gerry first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, hi. So Gerry Goss, I'm head of AV channel within Samsung here. 10 years this year, so man and boy.
I'm not too sure I follow that, Gerry, but so Steve Robertson, I'm head of our end user business development. And I'm a mere baby, having been here 15 months, but delighted to join this. Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. You know what, Jenny, I'm impressed. You said to me, we're going to get some guests for this show. You didn't tell me you were going to get the largest landowners at ISE to show up. I mean, these guys, when they go to a show, they take over a show. So guys, I guess my first question and the thoughts of the folks that are watching is going to be asking, you know, what are you doing that's going to be different? You guys obviously have a large booth, one of the more massive booths. That's an understatement. We don't want to get into the metric conversions of how big it is for feet and, you know, and empirical different sizes and stuff. But tell me, what is the big thing at the Samsung booth this year? There is something different. I'm hearing rumors. I'm hearing buzz. So tell me. Are you willing to uncover what this secret is of how we get access to your booth, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no secret at all, really, because we've started informing our partners and end user touch clients already. But effectively, we've taken some feedback from previous years, and with such a large stand and with such a flow of customers on it at all times, it can actually be quite uncomfortable, especially as a Samsung employee doing stand tours. So we have it's a private booth now to access it, but actually it's invitation only. But that doesn't mean you have to be invited by Samsung. You can request an invitation. So
Gerry, you're gonna have to explain this to me, because you just went to private, but it's not private. It's big, but it's homey
Well, it's
feeling.
big. It's absolutely big.
So go ahead, break it down for us so that the American visiting, can understand what a private but not private booth tour is.
Yeah, so it's invitation only. Okay, so you have to have an invite to access the private area within the booth, which historically at the RAI would have been the upstairs area for people who visited the Samsung stand before. So you can access the stand by contacting your Samsung contacts, your day-to-day contact that you already have, and they can organize it for you. Or indeed, if you just turn up and you haven't got an invitation already, you can access via the Samsung kiosk, which is part of our product portfolio, and request a stand tour. This isn't, these stands are really regular. So they'll be running every 20 minutes for 20 minutes. So, you'll only have to hang around for a little bit, get a coffee or something and come back and get access to. So we have historically, it's been really difficult actually delivering the stand tours because you're bumping into lots and lots of other people on the stand. You're trying to access the back of a product perhaps, or a particular feature of a product. And it's been quite uncomfortable. So this is the feedback we've had back from the customers, and actually HQ then made this decision. What we hope to achieve by it is giving everyone a far better quality of experience whilst they're going around the stand.
So
I think that's
so I
great.
can't go up to your stand and go, I know Gerry, can I get in? Like, is this that kind of like?
Well, yeah, funny enough, actually.
I mean, Jenny's a celebrity in Barcelona, so do I need to bring Jenny with me to get in?
You in the AV industry all know Gerry. Come on.
You'll be all right, Chris, as well, I think.
We're in, Jenny. We're good.
Yeah, there'll be a collection of, say, for our part, we work for SE UK, Samsung Electronics UK. There'll be a collection of Samsung UK employees that sort of, without using the term meandering, because it's, but there will be people around the front of the stand that can collect, people that haven't had organized anything prior to it. And they can help either do the kiosk, or they can go and access the reception area and ask if we're not at maximum capacity, can we go and take them around an hour? So there's lots of ways to access it. I gather at the end of this, Jenny, you can basically put some contact names out. So if people that we don't know that know Midwich, they can request via you guys. So we are absolutely wanting everyone to come on the stand. We're just trying to manage it a bit more than we've ever done before.
I think that's really good news, actually. So, I mean, if I take last year, because I did go to Barcelona, Chris didn't make it out last year. Problem number one was your wall product had hypnotized hundreds of people, which was spilling onto the walkway. But absolutely, the Samsung stand is always so busy. So it's great to hear that potentially this way you get some more quality time on the stand. And I think the message here is, if you need a specific time, go ahead and get that pre-booked and locked in now. Otherwise, if you're easy about your show schedule, use one of the kiosks and interact with the Samsung product to book it.
Summarized.
So, great.
And also to make it a nicer experience within the sort of stand when you access it, we've got a catering area, and you can relax and have a chat about what you've seen with your contact, your Samsung contact. We're trying to make it just a more pleasant experience all round.
Excellent. And what about are you running any learning tracks this year? So have you got any booth talks? Is there anything going on? How can people come and learn a bit more from Samsung at the show?
Yeah, well, we certainly can. Gerry, I'll pick this one.
Yeah, sure.
Mind. So yes, we're running a full schedule of seminars throughout the week. So kicking off first thing on the Tuesday. So we've tried to pick up some sort of core threads, and again, putting back to that which Gerry raised actually around sort of those areas that we feel are going to be most sort of pertinent. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of it going throughout the whole of the show. So we've got our general product overview, which again you could probably get that from a stand tour as well. There'll be an area of discussion around our micro LED, so our chip on board, the wall technology, and the nod on from that would be around why you would want to go down that route. So what are the benefits of micro LED over and above maybe some existing SMD product. We're also going to be talking about our new outdoor LED range, so which we are really, really excited about. So our previous range has been around now for about a couple of years. So the new XHB series, which is going to be coming through, And there will be a bit more of a technical deep dive into that outdoor, very specialist area as well. So some specific seminars on that. We've got some meeting room and control areas that's going to be for discussion. And what else have we got? Hospitality TV, another sort of core area of the range. And it wouldn't be complete if we didn't discuss the fantastic flip. And actually, one more point as well, which has been a really emerging area for us over particularly the last 18 months, has been EV charging and the work we're doing in that space as well. So, yeah, we've got a lot to talk about from a seminar perspective. We've then got some separate sessions around our new VXT platform, which is going to be a simplified but very comprehensive offering of our current existing cloud CMS Magic Info platform. So hopefully that covered that little lot.
That's a lot more education than I was expecting. So
yes, sorry. Yeah. Is there a time limit on this thing?
Well, no, but I'm worried that there's not enough time at the show for people to see anyone else. Perhaps that's Samsung's game if you attend all of those seminars and book your stand tour.
Dwell time on the stand is good. You're very welcome. As Gerry said, we want it to be an experience.
Okay, so we know how to get onto the stand for a stand tour. We know what education is available from your private area as well. The next question has got to be why come? So what are the hero products or new products to look out for this year on the Samsung booth?
Yeah, so technical leadership, as always, is at the forefront of everything that Samsung does, and ISE 2023 is no different. We've certainly got I guess the expansion of our all-in-one range from a micro LED perspective. So we've enhanced, so there'll be an opportunity for us to showcase that without a doubt. So that's absolutely a core area for us as we grow into sort of 2023, and it's all about making or reducing the installation time more than anything else, making LED and certainly micro LED more easier from an installation perspective, and hopefully more deployable actually as well. So anything that speeds up. So our claims of being able to install in 2 hours have not subsided, have not abated. So
will people be building it live on the stand to show it to prove the 2 hours, or is that only viewable by video?
No, we can't do that, but we can actually provide you with a link to a recent webinar that we conducted. So the guys did it in 1 hour and 14 minutes. So that's not a bad gig, is it, to install 146 inch LED walls? So
yeah, that's the thing. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, and that's something that, on our marketing material, that's something we'd say that we can do in 3 hours, and we demonstrated that in front of about 80 integrators on this just pre-Christmas webinar with our installation, our pre-sales guys that actually did it on a time-lapse video. So we're more than welcome to share that to prove it.
Yeah, absolutely right. Our standalone LCD range has definitely got some enhancements actually. So there'll be the launch of our QMC range. So there's some additional features within that, some reworking, but the inclusion of USB-C as well. Yeah. So from an integrator's perspective, that's a key development. And then there's been a really quite interesting pivot, and there's the groundswell towards 21:9 as an aspect ratio, and Teams front row. So we will be showcasing our 105-inch LCD that supports natively 21:9 resolution. So, by way of, I guess, just illustrating what we're talking about, technical leadership, but how quickly Samsung has been able to pivot as well in a pretty short space of time. So it'd be interesting to gauge some of the response. We've seen, as I say, a bit of a groundswell in demand, certainly interest in that. Yeah. So we can hopefully we can run that alongside an LED discussion as well. So that's a key area. And then as we mentioned, EV charging as well. So we're stepping up our efforts in that space. So and how we are supporting that it's been predominantly from a digital out of home, but now as it starts to move into retail spaces and more commercial spaces, certainly more widespread actually. So yeah, I guess those are three really key areas from as I said at the outset, a technical leadership perspective.
We also, on the EV charging, it's two flavors. So we're doing a small sided, which is the new product, the OH24, and our standard sort of OH55 unit. So we're doing that in partnership with sort of enclosure manufacturers. And then just standard our products, we've got a range of touch products from 13-inch to 55, non-flip. We've got specialty products, our 37-inch stretch. We actually have a range of high-resolution monitors as well at the show. And as usual, we have a small section for our hospitality TV range with the introduction of Netflix on one of the ranges as well, and a new frame TV as well.
Interesting. I think having reached the EV charging topic there, which I have to say, it's definitely here in the UK and certainly in Germany and a few other European countries, I'm starting to really see a lot more signage, kiosks at those EV charging points now. So it's certainly an interesting market for our integrator partners to look at. But whilst we're on the subject of sustainable travel, it's going to be a hot topic at the show. And I wonder if you could tell us if Samsung are doing anything around ESG and sustainability or making improvements in that area.
Yeah, 100%. In as much as sort of technical leadership has to underpin what we do as a technology manufacturer, that has to be supported by a really thorough and stringent sort of sustainability mandate. And Samsung are at the forefront of that. So in terms of our strapline, if you like, for the stand is around everyday sustainability and how our products support that. So I guess it's worth sort of splitting that into maybe 4 areas. So we've got our sourcing, production and manufacturing. So what are we doing in that area? So we're being able to utilize discarded carbon, for example. We've gone live with our Slovakian manufacturing plants. So in terms of our ability to produce micro LED very quickly, so we've reduced our lead times down from 12 to 16 weeks down to somewhere between 5 and 7, which is great. But I guess the really responsible and sustainable message of that is how quickly we can, and the shorter travel period and time and everything else that goes with it to actually get those goods into the UK and across Europe. So I think it's a really, really cool message. The distribution wise, so there's a mass reduction of the use of carbon and other materials in our packaging. So hopefully the many engineers that install our screens can testify that they'll have noticed that the weight of our screens is obviously reduced and the size of our boxes. And our distributors obviously can tell us that they can put more of those on the many, many loading bays that they've got within their warehouses. And then things around like power consumption. So there's been a concerted effort in that area. So what we can do within our products, but around some of the features that are built in within our screen, and then that's supported by remote management, our RM software, and the ability to control assets. And then I guess how that's linking into things like BMS systems and smart buildings, and it all becomes it's a major talking point right now, isn't it? So you can be assured of learning more about Samsung's sustainability position as well on the stand.
I think that's really great, and hopefully anyone that caught our last Midwich Live, actually we threw out some content-based and user-based improvements that you can make, so that to hear things like what Samsung are doing to improve the production process and the materials sourced and the circular economy, then we go ahead and do our bit, such as avoiding too much use of white in content that's going to be shown on LED because of the power consumption and draw of that. So I think there's going to be a lot of buzz around what we can all do, which really are quite small changes as users, and then that's backed up by all this hard work that's coming out of manufacturers like yourselves. It's just great to hear, really. So, and
just to reiterate what Steve said in terms of that, we spoke about the private area. Well, the public area, all the messaging is a sustainable messaging. So it's about exactly what Steve just discussed in terms of sustainability.
Great,
awesome. So, all right, I'm coming a long way to come see this, right? And experience ISE. Sell me. Why should I come see you? Why should I come see your stand? What would be your 1-minute message of how to convince me to go there? Outside the fact that I need a golden ticket. Well, not really a golden ticket to get in. Tell me, why would I want to travel all the way to Barcelona? Well, that's a good reason. We can get some tapas and some cava. But outside of that, why come see Samsung? Give me your best reason. Why am I going to have FOMO if I don't go?
I think the main thing in terms of what we're highlighting is our micro LED technology. We're at the forefront of this. We've driven it in the UK. We've got multiple user case studies now. So we have got the 3 iterations effectively. We've got the IWA, which is a 0.8 to 1.6. We've got our IWB, our new product, 0.6 to 0.9, and we've also got our all-in-one product. So we've got all these different iterations of micro LED, which they're available now. We've done a really good job in driving that product into the market, and it's best in class, absolutely.
And one last, I guess, question for you both, right? And this is more of a, I guess the question I'm going to throw at you guys is more of a show-based question, but in your opinion, are shows back? Is this the statement show that everybody's been waiting for in AV to say we're back? Is this the one? Right? No pressure.
Yeah. Oh, no pressure needed, but it definitely feels like it. And I've got some anecdotal sort of talk around it, really. So we have a country manager in Scotland, and last year he went to the show and he met some customers and he met some end user and integrator partners, and it was okay. And he sort of put out the message this year that he didn't feel it was viable for himself traveling in terms of a good use of time. And actually last week he insisted that he needs to go because all the Scottish partners that he deals with regularly and those end users are all traveling to Barcelona this year. So in terms of some evidence, I think that's pretty it's pretty fact based, really.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and just to support that, I guess with further fact actually, and with the way in which we've now designed the stand, and in terms of the booking process being that much more thorough, and obviously you can get early eyes on the amount of footfall that's going to be coming through the stand. And the stand is, as you said at the outset, Chris, it's not insignificant in its size. It's over sort of 1,700 square meters, so it's huge. And with a capacity of north of 500 people, right? So we have got visibility of areas of the day where we are at capacity. So that is, with ISE is 3 weeks away. So I think that's massively encouraging, and I think we've got a really strong story to tell, as I'm sure many others have, and I think there's an appetite to come and experience that. I think what will be interesting, Chris, and we said this kind of offline maybe, was around what are the obstacles in the way for people actually getting out there, right? If there's an appetite, there's an enthusiasm to get out and to come see what's happening, but are there any other barriers in the way that are going to prevent people coming out, whether or not it be budget restrictions? And the tech industry has not been immune to any of those, so it will be interesting. But certainly in these last the weeks since we went live with being able to open up the invitations, it's really very, very encouraging. We look forward to having a really quite busy few days. I mean, I'm not sure my feet and my lower back are going to be looking forward to it, but no, really looking forward to what's going to be a brilliant
There's
show.
something about ISE, isn't there? Every year, sort of you get excited, and about 3 hours into the first day, you remember how much it hurt the year before, and you don't understand why you were excited before you got there. But it's only the feet. Everything else is enjoyable. So, guys, what's the stand number? Where do people come to use the kiosk to book their tour?
So we are in Hall 3. And we are stand 3 Foxtrot 600. So that's 3F600.
Fantastic.
And what it would be great to do as well is obviously share the full schedule of our seminars and some of the solution business stuff that we're looking to focus on as well, which is around our sort of VXT platform. So hopefully through here we'll be able to share.
We will. So we'll make sure that we get links to those relevant pages in the chat functions of whichever platform people are watching on today. And we'll also get some of that information up on the screen for our viewers. So thanks very much, Gerry and Steve, for joining us.
Thank you very much for your time.
We'll see you in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity. We'll see you there.
See you in Barcelona.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. A lot of material in that. A lot of juicy bits.
Quite a lot, isn't it? So I mean,
Yeah.
so the headlines of that are, if you haven't already booked a stand tour and you've got a busy schedule, either get in touch with your Midwich Group contact or directly with your Samsung contact locally to get that booked in, or make it your first stop, I guess, of the show. Get to one of those kiosks and get your deli counter ticket to make sure that you can get a stand tour whilst you're in. And education tracks and seminars, they seem to be a bit of a common theme this year, which is pretty cool. Our next guest is going to talk about something similar for those guys, although they've got a very different stand to what they would normally have, spilling some tea there. Also, I would just quite like to shout out the ISE's conference track of its own, and in particular draw attention to the Digital Signage Summit. So we've just come off that chat with Samsung regarding their green messaging and sustainability messaging. Anyone who watched our last show would have seen Florian and Stefan from Invidis Consulting talking about green signage, which is where all those great nuggets of how, as a user of technology, we can reduce our carbon footprint. That content will be delivered, and all of the new stuff that they have discovered in the Digital Signage Summit, which is part of the ISE conference track. So be sure to head to the ISE website and book any last minute tickets for conferences if that's what you are interested in.
Before we go to our next guest, I encourage folks, go ahead and hit the like, hit the share, get your folks together, bring them all around, because this is a special guest that we're bringing on here, something that in the AV space we don't really get a conversation with, or we don't hear enough from them. So to have this guest come on and give you a sneak preview of what's to come from this special, now is the time, folks. Call your friend, call your neighbor, and tell them to turn it on. Go to your LinkedIn, go to your YouTube. Do what you need to do in order to pass on this information, because this is going to be valuable for folks that are not just going, but that for folks that are remote, because this person is going to give us a little preview of what's happening. And he will also share where you can see it live from the comfort of your home. So that is important. That's why you got to go out and start getting your folks to come around and check that out. So let's get the viewership up there. You guys are doing great in the comments. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yes, Holden will be at the show. They sent us a little note saying, we'll see you there. DVS thanked us, and they're going to be there. Keep it coming. That's all I got to say. Keep it coming. It's all positive. I love it.
Right, it's time for the elusive headline act. Here comes Microsoft. Let's see that interview. Thank you for joining us, Michel. Tell us who you are and what you do for Microsoft.
Oh yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. My name is Michel Bouman. I'm the EMEA Partner Technical Strategy Lead for Microsoft Teams Rooms. So my team is trying to help partners and customers understand how we can make hybrid work. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. So, where are you located?
I'm located
I have
right
to ask
outside
because
of, I'm right outside
ahead.
of Amsterdam in the Netherlands.
Man, are you one of those people that wish it was just up the street and then
So
it stayed at the Rye?
it used to be in the Rise. That was home court advantage. It would have been nice because I would still be able to kind of go back and forth between family and the event, but then at the same time being in Barcelona for a week, it's not a bad place to be in. So I'm looking forward to being in Barcelona again, like last May when we had a lot of fun.
We're trying to find negatives about Barcelona. It hasn't come up yet, so that's pretty good.
I think this year is the weather. So I was excited that the hotel was somewhat near a beach. And so I was thinking, if we have like half an hour spare time, we can always go to the beach and just hang a bit. And then somebody told me, Michel, it's winter. It's only 55 degrees Celsius, 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not going to be pretty warm. So I think that's the only not so positive thing about Barcelona this time around, but it's a good city to be in, plus an amazing event, of course.
Yeah,
Awesome.
agreed. I mean, I looked yesterday, and it kicked out a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it's really a lot colder than they're used to at the moment. But fingers crossed it gets a little warmer for next week. So, but hey, the food will still taste fantastic. And
Oh, I found another negative thing about Barcelona. So I'm used to having dinner around 6:30. The Spanish eat super late. Right? Spanish don't eat until 8, 9 p.m. And that's kind of like my curfew. So that's when I need to be in bed, but that's when these dinners start. So that's the only thing I could find where I'm like, can we have dinner earlier? And they're like, no, that's late lunch.
so our
You could
sister
you
company
could tell
had-
who's not from there because we all act.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
we our sister company who are based in Barcelona and also Madrid hosted all of our group companies a few years ago pre-COVID for a sort of get together and forum, and it was quite interesting to see once we sort of reached 2:30 in the afternoon how angry the rest of the Europeans were getting that we hadn't had lunch yet, and all of the Spanish going, no, it's not time. So
Yeah,
I completely get where you're coming from.
didn't have dinner until 9. Like I said, by that time I'm both hungry and sleepy.
Interesting. So tell us
So-
what Microsoft has in store.
It's going to be a fun week. It's going to be a little different than what we've did other years. So this year we will not have demos on the booth. Instead, we'll have a theater. So the idea is that we'll have a theater and we'll be able to have I think we have about 20 seats where people can sit down, and then enough space around those seated spots where people can watch sessions every half an hour. There's a session that's hosted by the partner technical strategist, so Mo Khalifa, Robert Carlson, Jimmy Vaughn, Jersey Jimmy, and myself will be hosting most of these sessions alongside all of our OEM vendors. So we'll have all the OEMs present. They'll be co-hosted with us. And then we have 2 very special sessions. One is on the Monday at 5 p.m., which is a Ask Me Anything session with Ilya Buckstein, who's our VP for Teams, Devices, and Call-In. So that's going to be an exciting one. People can come over and just ask him anything they want. We'll be hosting that live on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. And then we'll have another one of those, but with Sanjay Rao, who's the product lead now for displays and hot desking. She used to be the product lead for Android. And we're doing an Ask Me Anything with her on the Wednesday at 1 p.m. So that's going to be, I think, very exciting. So no demos. If you want to see demos, go to our OEMs but come to the theater sessions on our booth.
That's great. So it's going to be like quite educational then what you're bringing to the show. And with those Ask Me Anything sessions, obviously on the Monday, the majority of people who can gain access to the building are exhibitors who are building stands, etc., and happen to be there because there's not many conferences happening.
It's the Tuesday.
Ah, okay, on the Tuesday.
Tuesday is Q&A with Ilya, and then Wednesday, thank you. And then Wednesday is the session with Sanjay.
Great. So the first day of the show is that first Ask Me Anything. And with when you say that's going to go out onto LinkedIn and other social platforms, will you be taking questions from people who aren't at the venue?
100%. I think one thing that we learned is that hybrid is the way to go, even at events. And if we really want to create these immersive and inclusive experiences, we need to make sure that the folks that could not make it out to Barcelona are also able to ask Ilya a bunch of questions.
That's brilliant. So why is ISE now an important event for Microsoft? You guys, you appeared some years ago actually at this show, but you've been growing in size of presence and stand or booth and activity each time. And it'd be great to hear from the horse's mouth what it is about the AV industry that's of such interest now to Microsoft.
I think it's an exciting, at the same time, interesting time, right? So if we would go back 4 years into time, if you would join a meeting and you were not in the office, you were clearly at a disadvantage. And then we all moved to working from home, and we created this level playing field where everybody was the same. They had the same disadvantages as well, right? Co-creation, driving innovation, etc. And now in this hybrid world, where we know that 2 out of 3 meetings will have at least one virtual participant, we need to help and drive these, like I said earlier, immersive and inclusive experiences. And Teams Rooms plays a very important part in the Teams ecosystem there. So I think it's important for us not to just showcase products, because that's one. I think it's also to show thought leadership, because when I speak to our customers and when I speak to partners, they're asking the question, how can we make hybrid work? It's not as easy as it sounds. It has a lot of different challenges. And I think there's a big opportunity there, and also an obligation for Microsoft to share all of our learnings with as many people as we can. And I think ISE is one of the best places to be in for that.
And
You definitely hit the nail on the head there,
Yeah.
because I honestly believe that hybrid work is more encompassing than just here's a laptop, go home.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's evolved beyond that in the last 3 years. So just love to hear that the manufacturers are finally starting to, manufacturers and software providers, and that are starting to see that it's more than just, hey, everybody come back to the office because it's better. There's a more, I guess, a more holistic story that has to be told about how you go out and become hybrid.
Right. And we need what we're seeing a lot is that people are saying we don't mind going back to the office, but give us a reason to go back to the office. Right. And the reason could be one of my peers is there, or a manager that I would like to see, or it's all kinds of different things. But then if we don't have everyone in the office, how do we still bring those two worlds together? And as much as technology amplifies human ingenuity, it's people that are the driving force behind change and progress in organizations. So I think, and that might sound weird for a nerd like myself, and I think being a nerd is a compliment. It's not really about the technology; it's about the people. And I think one of the great opportunities that we'll have at ISE is to really express how does Microsoft do this, and what have we learned from all the customers and partners that we've spoken to over the past few years, and then how can we help people to make hybrid work.
Yeah, agreed.
We should have been more upfront with you. We speak fluent nerd on here, so
Good.
we're good. I completely understood every word you just said because I
love
speak nerd.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
So, I mean, a lot of those partners, hardware alliance partners of yours, are going to be creating a significant buzz around Microsoft this year at the show. So, Chris and I have been doing a load of research ahead of this live broadcast, just to get some snippets of, early press releases for people and what's going to be on people's stands. And we have heard more about 21:9 aspect ratio to support your signature rooms this year. And it's crazy than actually any of the activity around Infocom, which you had front row on show at Infocom, but there just wasn't enough supporting hardware out there to easily facilitate the new aspect ratio. So I think there'll be a lot of people coming to talk to you guys about that. One of the questions we were going to ask is, what products have you got on your stand? But obviously, you've told us now about what you're using your booth space for. So I guess I'm going to spin that question slightly differently and ask who's going to be there, and what can people find outside of those educational sessions from you guys? Who can they come and talk to, and what can they learn?
Yeah, so before I answer that, let me go back to your previous point. I think it's going to be very interesting this year, because people who you might not expect to showcase Teams Room solutions are going to be showcasing Teams Room solutions. So like you said, the display manufacturers that are maybe releasing a 21:9 display, they're reaching out to us and saying, or if they would be releasing a display, they would be reaching out to us saying, hey, can you help us set up these rooms? It's same for the manufacturers of projectors, right? Seeing what the Hive has produced in the vision of what a signature Teams Rooms is, and the part that a projector can play there. So you'll also see projector manufacturers having signature room setups in their booths. So I think we're going to see a lot more from partners that we weren't seeing these solutions from last year. We'll have all the OEMs present at the sessions. I would love to name them all, but I might forget one or two, and I want to avoid that. But everybody that has a Teams certified device, including Cisco, will be hosting sessions with us at the booth. And we just released a video where we're showing the full calendar. You can find it on my LinkedIn if you're interested. So you can see the full schedule before you go out to Barcelona. And of course, when you are in Barcelona, come see us at the booth, and you'll be able to see who is on when.
Brilliant. And can we expect any new announcements, or this is what's coming in that sort of for the meeting room space? Are there any sort of new announcements that you could maybe drop some hints at that could be coming for the show, or anything that's already out there now that you think people should know about too?
Only thing I can say is make sure that you come to the sessions and that you visit.
Oh,
I'm sorry, then that you visit all of the OEMs. We'll have a passport. So first thing you need to do when you get to Barcelona and you get in the venue, come up to the Microsoft booth and get yourself a passport. So what you'll be able to do with this passport is you'll go around each of the different booths, get a stamp, and then come back with the passport, and then we might hand out some cool prizes. But I think there's going to be a little sprinkles of surprises all around ISE this year in regards to Teams rooms. Whether that's I've heard Cisco is going to demo Teams rooms on Cisco devices, and I heard a couple of vendors that might be releasing some new products as well. So it's going to be a very fun, packed week.
exciting! So you're sending everyone on a treasure hunt, and I'll bet the hardware providers must love that, because you're driving those customers over to their stand.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I do have a question, since you're being kind of coy. All right, I got to ask, because I'm friends with Jimmy Bouman.
Really?
In your
Yeah,
opinion,
right.
who's got the better setup? Who's got the better setup? I mean, Jimmy's got a pretty elaborate setup. I watch him on LinkedIn on Fridays. Who's got the cooler setup at home? You or him?
Me, all day.
All
day.
The confidence, it's oozing.
I love Jimmy. Jimmy, if you're watching this, I love you, buddy. But no way that you have a cooler setup than I have here.
Okay, the gauntlet has been thrown down. And there it is. We needed a DJ horn. Right? Why not? Thank you, sir. That was exactly what I was looking for.
The new
soundboards is what makes video conferencing fun.
The new Teams Rooms badge for sales is out. So we have a new badge that you can go to Expert Zone. If you're a partner, go to Expert Zone and get the new sales badge. And it's funny because Jimmy and I have been doing sessions for a long time. And when people come out and ask us about front row, so what is front row? We always say, it is just a layout. Front row is just a layout. It's actually one of the questions in the exam. So that's a fun story of something that Jimmy and I came up with, which is now the exam. But Jimmy, I love you, buddy, but my setup kills yours. Until you move to a new house, then you might have a chance. But for now, no way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Now, Jimmy will have to come see me at the Midwich stand.
So,
well, anyway, go ahead, Jen.
Can we tell our viewers your booth number, where they find you at ISE?
So it's 2P450. 2P450 is the stand. I can't wait to meet you all. Please, if you are in Barcelona, please come over and say hi. We get messages afterward all the time saying, hey, we thought you might have been busy. No, please come up to us and say hi. We would love to see as many of you as we can while we are in Barcelona. And excited about your booth as well. Any things you want to announce?
Well, actually,
you have to come to the AV on air stand to come see what we're doing.
Yeah, we have got a little podcasting space. And Chris built some tea on social media actually this week with a little preview shot of some of the meeting spaces on our booth as well, which have been labeled as looking like the Starship Enterprise. And I have to say, now that I look at it, it really does. So if you would like to,
I can't wait till we wear.
Yeah, if you would like to dress up in Star Trek attire, please do, and come and join us for a coffee, or if it's after 4 p.m. a beer on our stand. But we are hospitality and meeting space plus a little podcast studio on our stand rather than product. We'll be doing not dissimilar to yourselves really. We'll be sending everyone all around the show to see all the great hardware that's on show from our partners. So
it's a great idea.
So thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, I'll definitely visit. And if you need me in the podcast studio, I'll be there and I'll talk. Maybe Jimmy and I can drop by together and we can fight over who has the coolest office.
I'll bring sound effects like a bell ringing for a boxing match.
Good stuff. I only have this one. That's when we talk about Jimmy's office and his background.
That sound effect follows me everywhere I go. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. That'll be me trying to hail a cab in Barcelona.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. When actually do you get to when do you land? When is the starting point for you?
For me, it's Monday morning. I think we land around noon. So the first thing we do is we try to check in at the hotel. Then we go straight to the venue, look at the booth, see if everything's ready, and then get some rest, and then get ready for Tuesday opening. Our sessions start early, so Monday, and then I fly out on Thursday. It's gonna be I think a packed 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, agreed. Well, we'll be looking forward to what Microsoft has to. Oh boy, my throat. We'll be looking forward to what Microsoft has to show us. I know it's important for us and important to the crowd because you're here. Because a lot of people want to know what's up with Microsoft. So I appreciate you stopping by and giving us a few minutes in this pre-record.
Good stuff. Thanks for having me, and see you in Barcelona.
Thanks, Michel. See you there.
Bye-bye.
It is just a layout. Front row is just a layout.
I need to go when he's going to present at ISE. I got to bring a portable DJ horn with me. So when he says something, I want that going off in the background. That's what I want to do. If somebody can tell me where I can get a DJ horn sound effect loud enough that I can play, that I could just, while he's speaking, that'd be great. I would love to be punking him while he's doing that. He was a great interview and a great guy. What you guys don't see is off screen. Yes, he's the Microsoft stuff, but Michel is a fun guy to talk to. Very interesting. And yes, he is 100% nerd. If you speak nerd, you have absolutely every right to go speak to him at the trade show. Do not be afraid to walk up and say, I speak nerd. How are you? And he'll understand right away where you're getting at. So.
And go get your passport, right? I think that's a really cool idea. So go collect your Microsoft passport, and then that way you can go and tick off all of their supported alliance partners and hardware partners around the show. So, because that's a big thing now, isn't it? What is Teams certified? And they're kind of covering it for you with the whole get your passport, go and make sure that you've seen everything, because their booth is focused on educating us and updating us on everything. And there are definitely new announcements coming from those guys. He's just not allowed to tell us on here.
And how many people actually all heard, Microsoft, but he said one word that triggered everybody. He said, collect the passport because you get swag.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he did say Cisco. That was like a trigger word too.
Yeah.
I was looking for a bell to ring. I was like, wow, nobody ever says Cisco on a podcast anymore. So let's get that going. That's fun. So yes, go get your passport, go tour things. And then, my God, we're getting swag back at shows, folks. Bring a bag, bring your swag, and get your swag on. That's what I mean. There's people out there like that are dying for it. We do have swag.
I think we have swag.
I was not going to let that out, but there is definitely. See, that's okay. Now it's out of the bag. We might as well. We do have swag. Come by AV on Air. You'll see what we're giving away. It's going to be limited edition. So it's first come, first serve. That's how it works. Yeah, it is limited edition. I only have so much. So come by, come see. If you see me or Jenny, say, where's the swag? And guess what? It may magically appear in your bag. You never know. So, anyway.
Swag.
We do have another interview lined up. I know your folks have been on the long haul with us. This is over an hour. It's our longest show that we have. We can't pack it into 30 minutes. We're good at editing, but we're not that good. We have to, hey man, we've worked in AV. We're like control programmers. Remember when we used to put all those buttons on the touchscreen? This is us building the show. We just put every button because we don't know which one you want to use. So we brought all the content and we kept it as feature rich as possible. How's that? That's my excuse. So we have another lined up interview. Jenny, do you want to kind of introduce
I will,
who
yeah.
this is and what we're into?
It's so what have we done so far? We've talked about Samsung stand is going to be very different. You've got to book a tour. You can do that when you get there, or you can do that ahead of time. They've got green messaging, 21:9, flip, micro LED, Microsoft, no product, just big theater, loads of education and so on. So I think what's been missing, that's right, gaming. So our next Our next guest is going to dabble in a little esports at ISE, which is pretty cool. So we caught up with Jess from Absen, who is their brand and marketing director for Europe. So this was quite interesting, actually. And in our sort of pre-chat before we got this interview, hearing like how much work is involved from her side, because she's designing the booth, getting it ready, sorting out all of the extras and so on. So this was quite a busy and stressed lady. So we were very pleased to get hold of her ahead of this live. And yeah, let's see what they've got going on at ISE. This is our interview with Absen. Thanks for joining us, Jess.
Hello.
So can you, for our viewers, let us know who you are and what you do at Absen?
Yeah, my name's Jess Golding and I work for Absen. I'm the European Brand and Marketing Director.
So that's quite exciting to have someone on who's, I guess, very involved in all things set up for ISE. So I think we'll be asking about that shortly. But we were going to start with an interesting question. So our other guests on this show have got a particularly large stand. You've taken that one stage further. I believe you've got 2 spaces this year at ISE. Tell us about that.
Yep. So ISE approached us a little while ago with their new content production and distribution zone and asked whether we wanted to be part of that. And of course, we couldn't say no. So I mentally, I think, took on the capacity to do our second booth, which is all about esports, which is actually in collaboration with Midwich, Piesco, and Big Purple Productions. So we're working as a collaboration to bring this esports 1v1 setup to the content zone in Hall 6.
I can help you out here. If you can say no más, that's Spanish for no more. So next time that somebody asks you if you want to take on extra, you could say no más.
Yeah, great. Thank
and
you.
You'll be good. So that's my first Spanish lesson to you would be to practice that, especially at these trade shows, especially when they're trying to bring out stuff. You do have some cool products, so I can understand why the ISE team was haunting you guys to get involved. So can't wait to hear what you got coming up, though.
Thank you.
What is these booths all about?
Yeah, what are the hero products? What can we see on the main stand this year?
So on the main stand this year, we've got our brand new PR product, 2.5 pixel pitch, which is dedicated for the virtual production market. Those who have sort of followed Absen will have seen that we're really pushing in this market to support those building studios, building XR volumes. So we wanted to bring a dedicated product to market with the refresh rate that's needed for this market. And we're really excited to bring that to the biggest global show for Absen. So we can't wait for you all to see it in our virtual production setup.
How involved can we get? So like can we get in the setup? Can we be part of it? Can you capture content and then can we see ourselves?
Yeah.
Was it a forest last year? What sort of backdrops have you got this year?
So we're going with the forest theme this year. We've got tents, we've got a full setup, and get yourselves in there. We'll have the RE cameras, the Moses are doing all the tracking so you can see it live. We had a lot last year of people recording it and putting it all over socials, which was great. So more the merrier. Get yourselves on that stage.
Honestly, me and Jenny on our contracts that we have to go to ISE, it specifically says that we have to be inserted into an immersive Lego environment. So if there is not bricks involved and some sort of old school, 8-bit graphics, there's nothing happening.
I think
I'm old.
You might have just designed my very next birthday party. XR Absen studio made of but with Lego bricks, and I'm a Lego character. And
invite Jess and Absen. They don't know how to say no. They just go. I give them short notice.
Yeah,
how quickly can you put something together?
So another rumor that I've heard, Jess, is that you guys will also be jumping on what's definitely going to be a hot topic for this ISE show, and that's the 21:9 movement for Microsoft's Front Row. And am I correct in thinking that actually people can come to the stand and learn a bit about this from you guys?
Yeah, so we'll have the product on show. It's part of our Icon series. So we'll actually have a corporate meeting room set up on our stand. And our industry development director for corporate, Darren Banks, will be talking on the first and second day at 1:30, talking through the range, why it's important, and a little bit more about that product, and helping people understand how they get involved with LED in that format.
Yeah, it's a hot topic. The 21.9 is if it's not a buzzword yet, I would say it is. But the conversation around how can we get it all in one, kind of like, can we order it as a 21.9 and come out of the box? The sizes, you guys get ready, because you're opening up a can of worms for discussion at this trade show. It seems to be, it's been all the rage for the last year, and now seeing product coming out from various manufacturers.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it's going to be a fight to see who got the best product. I can't wait.
Yeah. I think it's about choice now, isn't it? So we've come off the back of a year really of, yes, we were able to produce 21/9 using LED, but actually, a lot of the time it's so bespoke, isn't it, with LED, because you're capable of building them all in any size. Yeah. Really, last year there was mostly just the one LCD product out and available, and we're hearing that won't be the case as of this ISE. And then we've got a huge movement from projection as well. So I bet Microsoft are super pleased that they're sort of spearheading this new aspect ratio regime. And I think even they now are referring to these rooms as their signature Teams rooms, which just sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Now?
It does.
We've got MTRs and two signature rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're going to show us an outdoor product. I think this might be the first time you've done it, but you're going to show it to us indoors. Is that right?
We are showing it indoors. We would have loved to have shown it outdoors, but there was no space, unfortunately. But it is the first time that we are bringing an outdoor product to ISE, which Ross Burling, our out-of-home development director, is very, very pleased about. We're partnering with DoClick to be able to bring content to those screens. So one thing I think you'll notice about Absen at the moment is we're really trying to push partnerships and solutions. So this out-of-door product, we don't want to just show it as much as we would have loved to show it outside. It will be in a totem in collaboration with DoClick. So it's all about that 1.9, bringing a new product to market to expand the outdoor range.
That's quite a small pixel pitch for outdoor, isn't it? So is that a trend, do we think? Are people standing closer? Are we starting to see now that LED is overtaking LCD product for that out of home outdoor signage setup? Is this that movement?
I think we're going to give them a good run for their money on that, because I think as the pixel pitch is becoming more available and the costs are coming down, I think people are going to start wanting that. And I think we might be one of the first to market with a 1.9 for outdoors. So we have always tried to be leaders in the markets. And I think that's a step of us showing that we're trying to maintain that innovative aspect of Absen.
Strategic alliances, Jenny, put that in the book of things that are going to be overly talked about. It's definitely the way of I think manufacturers are finally getting to the point where they're realizing that we don't have to do everything, and that there are specialists in every little thing that we can kind of partner with. I think strategic alliances is going to be one of the words that is just going to keep coming out of everybody. And they're going to come back from the show with, man, all these companies are now starting to finally work together in harmony as opposed to being competitive, which is kind of interesting and nice. Play nice.
And from Absen's perspective, we only do LED. We know that we only want to focus on LED. So to be able to bring all these partnerships together, we're just showing that we are part of the puzzle. So we know that we're not the only puzzle piece. We have to work with these other people to be the best in our industry. So people would be silly not to collaborate.
Absolutely.
Agreed. 100%. And it's so much easier for the customer. I think that's what's coming now. So we went through this stage, didn't we, of off the back of COVID. I think I called it brand spreading, Chris, where you just sort of like, please stop, bringing out products that aren't your bread and butter, because it's not quite right, or it's not happening as well. And we already have really good premium product in that space. But these alliance partnerships show our customer base that you're talking to the other manufacturer. And if there's a problem or if there's a compatibility issue that arises, or better still, if you need to pre-test stuff, that relationship's already in place, and that they can lean on that. So, Chris,
we could definitely do a whole episode of the walled garden ecosystem versus the strategic alliances and which is better. So, wow, thank you, Jess, for inspiring a whole string of extra work for us. We too can't say no, Moss.
Yeah,
so,
well, it's only fair.
Absolutely. Thank you for spreading the joy.
Very welcome.
So when do you go? Because obviously you're pretty much in charge of this overall project that is ISE in your role. When do you actually fly out to the show?
So I'll be flying out on the 27th to start the esports, the esports setup with the Big Purple team. But the Absen technicians will be on site from the early. They'll be knocking the doors down to try and get in there as early as possible. We've got a huge build. There's a lot going on, so the team will be.
Hold up. Let's pump the brakes here. How much work goes into this? Because our audience is sitting here, most likely has not been there the days before. They only walk in and see big displays, people all fancy dressed, no dust on their suits and jackets, right? When does the work start for you guys? Now you're holding 2 booths, so this is double the work in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So when does the hard hat start working?
I don't know whether you can ever take it off, but I think ISE prep always starts months before. I think marketers in this industry or anyone who's attending ISE will know that this is a big lead up. There's a lot to plan. There's a lot to do. Everything we're talking beers, we're talking foliage, we're talking what does the carpet look like and where is the camera going to go. So I think never underestimate the stress of a marketeer in the lead up to ISE.
You're part marketer, part construction worker, part project manager, part beer. Was that barbacks? Those are the ones that carry the beer into places if necessary. Not necessarily bartenders, but that too if necessary. Yeah, there's more than just hard hats being worn at ISE is what I'm seeing, Jess.
Always. The team always pull in whenever they can. If you've got to sweep the floor because it needs doing because the show's about to open, you get a sweep and you sweep that floor.
You say the team, what is your little, I guess your Black Ops team consist of? Because as a whole, you have the construction guys and the workers that are there putting things together, nailing things into place. But what does your marketing team consist of? How many people are going to sit there for X amount of days or a week, who's helping? How many people are helping? We're taking notes here because this is just, we got to figure out how this is done.
It will scare you to know there is 2 of us, and only up until George joined in September at the end of last year. So I'm very grateful to have his support. The team in China also helped from marketing perspective, but on the ground for European marketing, there is the 2 of us. But I'm lucky enough to work with a great team who are all team players, and we all just muck in to get everything done. So I couldn't do it without them.
Jenny, you need to tell her about your Heelys idea because I got a feeling shoes need to be skating all over the place.
Do you know, I was about to say, never underestimate the importance of carpet at a show stand. So it's one of the first things that I suss out when I get to the show, who's got the squidgiest, softest carpet, because when your feet need a break from all the walking around, that's where you need to just go and hang out and sort of like wriggle your toes into it for a minute. But yeah, I have had an idea to speed me up between meetings and stands. I'd welcome your opinion, Jess, but I was considering procuring a pair of Heelys for the show. And then that way, I'm not on roller skates all the time. I can walk normally when I need to. And when there's a safe, sensible gap on the walkways, I can zoom a little faster. What would you think if you saw me wheeling around?
It would be great. I might get a pair. Or do you know what we all need is a Segway and a little flag on it. And
So I raised this one year. I actually asked Mike Blackman if that would be allowed, and I got quite a few health and safety reasons as to why not.
Thanks. We now have to sit through movies, Jenny. We have to sit through the safety movies just as attendees. Thanks.
But I don't see how it's any different than these, video conferencing robots that come around and sort of tap you on the shoulder and ask you if you want something. I personally feel that I would be safer in person in control of a Segway than sitting in a different country controlling a robot.
We
there you go.
kidnap an autonomous robot or one of those mail delivery ones. We gut it out from the inside, and then we just put remote controls inside and scoot around ourselves like that. Nobody will know.
What, sit on it?
No, inside. We'll open it up, rip all the guts out from inside, and then you just control it from inside with a remote control, and you could zoom in and out. It'd be like a little personal little cab inside a robot.
There you go. Well, we'll see. Wait and see how I arrive to your stand.
Can we edit that out? Absolutely. We don't want anybody knowing our secret here. I hope producer Carrie needs to edit that one out because somebody's going to come after me if the robot starts acting weird because we kidnapped.
No, it's fine. It's never happened.
There's no hostage crisis. I promise you, there will not be any of that kind of craziness. So, Jess, tell us where we can find the Absen booths, plural. Is that the right way? Stands. It's ISE, so I need to start referring to it as stands. Where can we find the multiple stands?
So the large booth, the main booth will be in Hall 3 at 3N300, and then our esports is in the content distribution zone at 6E150, and you'll see me running like a headless chicken in between the both booths, but come and have along. We've got lots going on. There's lots of beers on the normal booth. We've got prizes to give away on the esports booth, so we should have a lot of fun.
So people can get involved on the esports booth then?
Yeah,
it's open to play.
You can come and have a play. We've got Rocket League, we've got FIFA, and everyone who plays daily will be put in a draw to win some prizes. So come along and have a go.
Okay.
Interesting.
And if we find that people are spending too much time on your stand, we can give a list of names of people not to let come back anymore.
I mean, I would never kick somebody off our stand. They can stay as long as they like.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us and letting everyone know what to look out for at ISE. I think that's super exciting for people to come and see the XR Studio setup, with a product you've built specifically for that. It's going to be really, really interesting to see. So thanks for joining us, Jess, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.
So just to clear it up, I have done a 180 on the Healy idea. So I bought my 6-year-old a pair of Heelys for Christmas, which turned out not to be the best of ideas. They are actually quite tricky to figure out. Also, it looks like you should be able to walk on them like normal shoes, but you don't. You have to tiptoe. So I think what I would gain in my speed moving between booths, I would lose in comfort having to tiptoe like a ballroom dancer all around the show. Also, they're really heavy, but I did see some of those, the little suitcases where you fold down a scooter back. I don't have time to buy one now, but I might look at that for ISE 2024.
I just watched a show called Impractical Jokers, where that was part of the gig. He sat outside of his thing, on top of his suitcase, and went for a stroll. Interesting. Well, I was going to suggest the Heelys was a bad idea because I had to sit and thanks, Jenny, for giving that idea. Now I had to sit through safety films about why we can't wear rollerblades, Heelys, and use skateboards at trade shows. I appreciate that. It was very fun and informative. I'm kidding, folks. I did not have to do that. Do not tell Mike Blackman that I had to sit and watch that because that did not happen. But we are getting to the end of our show. We do want to acknowledge some folks that were up on the comments. Jimmy Vaughn has showed up. Jimmy is with Microsoft, and I guess he took it to heart that Michelle said he had a better setup than he did. So we poked the bear just a tiny bit. I can't wait to see now what's going to happen or the repercussions of this on Friday, because Jimmy does his show on Friday on LinkedIn Live. So if you want to check out what Jimmy and the Microsoft team have coming up, check him out on LinkedIn, because he does a live LinkedIn every Friday. The fastest 10 minutes you'll spend. We are over those 10 minutes by an hour and 14 minutes. That's where we're at today. It was not the fastest show. We warned you. Jenny gave you a warning label when we walked in that we could not do this in under an hour.
We did say it was going to be packed, and there's like a solid circa 60 people across the platforms who have stayed with us from start to finish. So we are
Raise
so
your hand
grateful.
in the comment section. We want to see that you've been with us since the get-go. That's all.
We honestly, we said, didn't we? We were like, we're going to get to like 45 minutes and we'll just see loads and loads of drop off, but it's fine because people can come back. So, I mean, I'll be completely honest. I've been during those videos, because I know what happens in them. I've put logs on the fire. I even hoovered my dining room. So to those people that managed to sit through the entire show, thank you so much. That's amazing. Now, so quick recap. You can't just walk onto the Samsung stand. You need to pre-book or go and book on one of the kiosks. There's no product on the Microsoft stand, but they will educate you all show long. Yeah, and if you are talented in the FIFA and other real games, apparently there is no Super Mario Kart, but whatever, then check out the esports setup from Absen, but also go to their stand to see LED design specifically for use in broadcast. We had early shout outs for higher ed, which was X2O Media, CC'd for the Resi guys, IAMA as another option to go and look at that 105 21x9 setup. And please do visit Save AV to understand a bit more about sustainability in our industry. And whilst you are wandering the halls of the show without wheels, please look out for a USB switcher with push button control to make Chris's life easier. I think it's time to let everyone go.
I didn't get the message that we can get up during the video playback. So I sat.
I've done loads.
I apparently loads of laundry and all this other stuff. Wow, I gotta get better at this time management stuff. Jenny, when do you get in? Just for the folks here at on the lives can find when can we see you at ISE?
So I'm about an hour behind you, Chris. I'm going to land 3-ish, I think, in Barcelona on Monday. I have a feeling you land at 2-ish on Monday. And then we'll probably head straight over. So if you have a booth and you're setting up, we'll be around there after we've collected our luggage and headed to the show. I actually go home on Thursday evening. My partner, who also works for Midwich, he has a birthday in the middle of the show. So we will we'll celebrate that at the Peerless party. But we are heading home on the Thursday night. But Chris will still be there on most of Friday before he heads to Portugal.
Yes. I will be going to Portugal, working remotely from Portugal. And for those that follow my social feeds, there's going to be a little bit different of things. I'm possibly going to see where on a weekend, as soon as ISE is over, I'm going to head over or back to Portugal. I may go check out where Game of Thrones is filmed in Monsanto to go see where specifically the House of Dragons was filmed. So I'll put that up on my social feeds. I'll put up some wave surfing that's happening about 15 minutes from where I'm going to be. So if you're interested in that sort of jazz and possibly even watching me make pizza, check out my social feeds, Chris_Netto on Twitter, Jen on Twitter.
At Midwich Jenny on Twitter, and search Jenny Hicks on LinkedIn. And if you have joined us late in this stream, producer Kerry does this really cool thing on YouTube where she goes back and she sections out each segments the clips of our YouTube stream. So you'll be able to go, oh, I missed the Absen interview, or I missed the Microsoft interview in a couple of days' time. You'll just be able to hover your mouse over and see exactly which bit it is that you want to go back and have a look at. Hopefully we've covered all of the booth numbers of everyone that we've talked about today. If not, download the ISE app. It is time. I for one will be picking up both or using both my digital badge this year and my paper badge. I felt pretty naked last year without it. So yeah, but on your ISE app, you'll be able to set yourself a little to-do list in terms of booths to go visit. And hopefully some of the people that we spoke to today and showed you today will be on that list. Sign us out, Chris.
That's it. I'm going to take us out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We look forward to seeing you next week. If you are in Barcelona, stop by booth 3P400. That's where we are. We'll be manning the AV on air booth and in and around the area. If not, see us on the if you see us on the dance floor. Wow. Can you imagine? No, that does not happen. If you see us on the show floor, please do not hesitate. Just come up, say hi. We don't see your faces, but you know ours. So please come over and say hi. It'll be my first time in ISE in 6 years. Jenny is a natural at ISE. She knows the thing like the back of her hand. So Jenny's gonna help me figure out what's going on. We look forward to seeing everybody, both from around the world. Our partners over at partner companies like NMK are going to be there. Like I said, DVS is going to be there. A bunch of people. I'm representing Starin. There's a bunch of us there. Get to know the Midwich Group and how we can help you on a global level, not just on a local level. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Midwich Live, and we will be back with a post-ISE show. I guarantee it. Till then, I'll see you then.